Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're uncovering a really massive shift happening right now in the automotive and energy sectors. We're looking at how electric vehicles are transitioning from being this major strain on our electrical grids to, well, the ultimate solution. You know, we often just think of EVs as a cleaner way to get from point A to point B, right? But as you'll see in the data we're breaking down today, they are quietly becoming the absolute backbone of a totally revolutionized energy infrastructure. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. The EV charging dilemma. 2. Speaking the same language. 3. Vehicle-to-grid two-way power. 4. AI as the grid's brain. And finally 5. Roadblocks and future solutions.
Section 1. The EV charging dilemma, the boom and the burden. Let's just dive right into the massive scale of the EV boom.
To put things into perspective, in the year 2024 alone, global electric vehicle sales surpassed a staggering 17 million units. That represents an incredible 25% increase year over year. The demand is absolutely undeniable. Global EV sales have literally skyrocketed, bringing the total global stock to around 58 million vehicles by the end of 2024. Now, obviously, that's a huge win for sustainability and slashing greenhouse gas emissions, but it brings up a pretty unexpected challenge. So here's the problem. This huge influx of uncoordinated charging is basically a ticking time bomb. Just imagine millions of people getting home from work at 6 p.m. and plugging in their cars all at the exact same time. This escalating presence of EVs strains our distribution grid to its absolute limits, pushing transformers way past what they were ever built to handle. Moving on to Section 2, speaking the same language, the charging plumbing. To understand how we handle this burden, we got to look at the hardware. When we look at the SAE charging modes, we see a massive leap. We're moving from AC Mode 1, which is just your standard 120-volt home wall outlet that takes like 17 hours for a full charge, all the way to massive DC Mode 2 fast chargers that actually bypass the vehicle's onboard converter entirely. These super fast DC chargers are wild. Operating at a power output of up to 400 kilowatts, they can deliver 120 to 180 miles of range in just 20 minutes. That's fantastic if you're a driver wanting a quick pit stop, but it demands a sudden, massive spike in electricity that traditional grid infrastructure was simply never designed to handle simultaneously. Now, for this whole ecosystem to survive, vehicles and chargers have to communicate flawlessly. But right now, we're relying on totally fragmented regional standards. You've got the SAE J772 standard as the backbone in North America, while China uses the highly prescriptive and mandatory GB/T standard. If we're going to deploy smart, renewable integrated infrastructure globally, getting past this fragmented plumbing is a major yet totally necessary headache. With millions of vehicles drawing massive power through these mismatched systems, the grid almost seems doomed if we keep the status quo. But what if we totally flipped the script? What if the cars themselves were actually the solution to the grid's capacity problems?
Section 3. Vehicle to grid, two-way power. Let's look at the ultimate plot twist for energy management.
This brings us to vehicle-to-grid, or V2G technology. This system completely redefines your car. It's no longer just transportation. It essentially becomes a massive mobile battery. It perfectly aligns the interests of EV owners, grid operators, and energy aggregators by allowing power to flow in both directions. Picture this. EVs are basically giant energy sponges. They can soak up renewable energy like solar or wind when it's plentiful and super cheap during the day. Then, through V2G, they can literally squeeze that stored energy back out, feeding it into the grid when it's thirsty during those peak evening hours. This provides critical services like peak shaving, which just means smoothing out those massive spikes in energy demand, without the grid needing to build incredibly expensive stationary battery facilities. Because of this, we really have to abandon uncontrolled charging. That old method pulls power instantly until the battery is full, causing severe demand-supply imbalances. Smart charging, on the other hand, allows operators to optimize schedules based on real-time grid conditions and dynamic pricing, balancing demand with supply flawlessly.
Section 4. AI as the grid's brain.
But here's the reality check. Smart charging and V2G integration at a global scale is way too complex for humans to manage manually. So the obvious question is, how do we act as traffic controllers for millions of cars charging and discharging simultaneously, all with different battery levels, driver preferences, and local grid capacities? The answer is artificial intelligence and machine learning. Advanced algorithms can rapidly predict energy demands, process user preferences, and adjust pricing in real time.
Researchers tested a bunch of machine learning models to see which could best manage all this chaos: decision trees, random forests, support vector machines, deep neural networks. But one model clearly stood out: the long short-term memory, or LSTM model. When they compared these AI models, they found that while decision trees were fast and random forests were great for large datasets, the LSTM model was absolutely the best for time series forecasting. It's specifically designed to recognize temporal patterns in power consumption data, which is exactly what we need here.
Get this, the LSTM model hit an incredible 94% accuracy rate in predicting incoming data. This allows grid operators to flatten load curves, manage peak voltages, and actually save consumers money on their bills. It's so robust that it maintains its accuracy even when energy demands are highly unpredictable. It gracefully handles totally random spikes in demand, what researchers simulate as Gaussian white noise.
Section 5. Roadblocks and Future Solutions. Now, realizing the smart city utopia does come with a few hurdles. The biggest roadblock for V2G is the wear and tear on the EV battery itself. Extra charging and discharging cycles can prematurely age the battery if we don't manage the depth of discharge, state of charge, and temperatures perfectly. Overcharging or discharging outside specific voltage ranges will for sure cause capacity loss.
To fix this, we need a multi-pronged approach. First, we use that advanced AI forecasting to optimize charging cycles and physically protect the battery's lifespan. Second, we have to offer EV owners clear financial incentives through dynamic pricing. We have to make it economically worthwhile for you to let the grid borrow your car's battery. And finally, we need further standardization of global charging hardware and some serious upfront infrastructure investments.
As the source material powerfully points out, mastering this technology is no longer optional. The integration of EVs and intelligent charging systems is absolutely imperative if we want our cities to survive the transition to green energy without crashing our local power grids.
So, considering the incredible predictive power of AI and the massive potential of V2G technology, it leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought. Will your next car just be a way to get to work? Or will it be the dynamic, mobile backup generator that powers your entire neighborhood? It's a thrilling look at the very near future of energy. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.